I got the beer wagons first and second.
This is a cool day for that thought, Chris. Look at Rudd just touching the number 11 there for a moment. And Earnhardt is right there in fourth. Alan Kowicki fifth. Martin in sixth. Rudd to the outside again as they come into the main straightaway. 149 complete this time.
Al Kowicki seems to be falling a little bit behind. The leading quartet is pulling away from him.
There's the battle for fifth. Alan Kowicki is in fifth. Mark Martin is in sixth. And remember, as we pointed out earlier, yesterday, the talk was all about Mark Martin and how he seemed to be the quickest car out here. Ricky Rudd continues in that third place in car number 5 as we watch this fifth place battle.
He's in position to go for that 220,000. Long ways to go yet.
That's Rudd that's in the third position currently. This is fifth and sixth. Kowicki, Martin. Just behind them lies Bill Elliott in the next position back. You're seeing a lap car in between them, Kyle Petty. Bill Elliott is in seventh, and then it's almost a half second to Ken Schrader in eighth. You're riding with car number 66, Dick Trickle, who is in 10th. Behind Schrader in 8th is Waltrip 9th. Then comes this car from once we're getting these pictures. Dick Trickle out of Wisconsin Rapids trying to put a lap on the car number 19. And here we are back with car number 5, Ricky Rudd. Closes in on Jeff Bodine another time. Ford leading the Chevy.
And directly behind Dale Earnhardt is now starting to move in on that leading quartet.
Battle up in front has been incredible here today. If you're just joining us, it's 32 degrees this afternoon in Richmond, Virginia. A little cool. As Barry Dotson said, it's football weather out here today. Les Richter, who was supervising the race for NASCAR, said, "You ever played football? Remember he played for the LA Rams in this kind of weather?" He said, "Sure." And he said, of course, in those days, he said, the way we kept warm is we played both ways, just like these guys do. They didn't send in one unit and then the other back in the early 60s when Green Bay was first building their dynasty. He said he went up there one time, and it was just about 30, 32 degrees the whole game. He said you never even felt it, as long as you can keep busy. Like these people right here. The front four, Wallace, Bodine, Ricky Rudd, and Dale Earnhardt, maintaining those top spots. Charlie Harville has a report from the leader's pits.
Barry Dodson, crew chief for Rusty Wallace. Barry, did you make any changes in the car during that last pit stop?
No, we didn't. The only change we made, we all went and sat on the tire we took off to try to stay warm. He said the car's very good. We just had a couple good pit stops, and that's what's got us up front.
How was the wear on those tires?
The wear's very good. The right sides are maybe a 30 seconds, left side about a half 30 seconds. Radial's doing a great job.
Comments of Barry Dotson about those radial tires. He's high on them. So is Earnhardt. Trick part is just getting used to them, I guess. Leader continues to be Rusty Wallace. Bodine is right there, and there is no let-up in the pressure on the front man this afternoon with 157 laps now complete.
The action with our Timex Speed Track computer, and Ricky Rudd had turned the quickest lap of the race at 119.22 miles per hour. To compare that with how they're running now, Rusty Wallace, just a couple of laps before we went to the commercial, clicked in with a lap not quite as fast. He was running at 118 miles an hour, 118.21 actually, 22.86 on the watch. The watch automatically calculates the speed, and that's typical to see that kind of drop-off at this point. The significance of the radial tires is that there is less drop-off in speed from the time the tires are fresh until they're worn. Let's get back to the action, see if Wallace can hang on. Ken?
Hanging on indeed, and look at this scramble. This is the Waltrip car on the outside. Brett Bodine is working on him, and already he has been caught up by Morgan Shepherd, who has passed him, and Schrader has moved around. Waltrip is falling back a bit. Brett Bodine taking a shot at him here. Brett Bodine down on the inside in the car number 26, working on Waltrip in the 17. Looks like he has him. This happening at lap 166 of the 400 to be run. Darrell Waltrip on the outside, and there's Sterling Marlin in this hunt as well. Car owner Billy Hagan here today, looking pretty chipper. Been on the mend for some Brett Bodine, bottom of the track, motoring its way up through. The Buick goes underneath the Chevrolet. Meanwhile, car number 6, Mark Martin's car. We have a report on this machine. Let's go to Steve Burns.
Mark Martin has developed a small leak in his oil line, and it is spilling oil up on his windshield. They're going to take a close look at it.
Now, one of the things that Jack Roush did today was he closed up the hole up there by the windshield, trying to get less air in on this very cold day. He says that they're really worried about the detonation on these engines when caution is out. We have a piece of debris. I thought we saw something there for a moment, and indeed, that is the
Alan Kulwicki has just suddenly found something. He passed Ricky Rudd and Dale Earnhardt to improve his position in the last couple of laps, and now the yellow flag has come out to slow him down.
This at lap 168. Here's your leader, Rusty Wallace. The Miller Pontiac stays up in front. As Chris says, the 2 beer wagons continue to lead the parade here today. Second spot is Jeff Bodine. And as this man from outer space clinches his cigar a little tighter on this chilly day, we'll pause for these messages from Richmond. 70 laps as they prepare on a restart. Double filing going down into turns 1 and 2. And as we get ready to go this time, let's go quickly down to the SCP Pit Center in Dave Despain.
Quick Goodyear Racing update on action here yesterday, where the Busch Grand National Division kicked off the Richmond weekend with a twice interrupted 200-lapper. It got underway with Kyle Petty running out front. He had started strong, but had to change an engine early in the morning. And don't be confused when you see Mark Martin here in a moment come rolling into victory lane. There is Petty, and here is Martin, and he has knocked down the protective barrels at the end of the pit road. Mark was fine, but the barrels were not, and the race had to be red flagged. They stopped it while the safety cars put the buffer back together again. At the halfway point, rain threatening the Speedway. Dale Earnhardt in the black 3 made a charge to the front, and it paid off in a traffic jam. Petty tried to lap Dana Patton on the inside, ran out of room, and watched helplessly as Earnhardt went by on the outside. Well, that storm indeed did blow in, and it brought the second red flag of the day. But just a couple of hours later, the sun and the track drying crew had done their work. The action resumed, and it was a remarkable charge from Michael Waltrip. He ran Earnhardt down from behind. He passed him with authority and ran away to his 3rd Grand National victory. Bobby Labonte had a run at Earnhardt, but came up just a little short, and he settled for 3rd spot behind Earnhardt in that 200-lapper. We've just gone back to green. That's your Goodyear Racing update. Let's get back to live action.
And as we get back under green, out in front from the restart, Rusty Wallace with Ricky Rudd in second as Dick Trickle back in 10th place giving us these pictures. We're live again with you.
Rudd grabs the lead, but...
Oh, we got a spin. It is Derek Cope looping up in turn 4 to the wall. Field underneath him. Same situation, 2 or 3 laps after they make these 4 tire changes, and these cars get skittish.
You know, the pit work on the part of Jeff Hammond in his hot shoes on number 17 has injected Darrell Waltrip up into 3rd place in the running order now.
And the running order, as they come around, they come back to the flag. See their boot in it here, holding their positions. Ricky Rudd's car number 5 stays up in front. Rusty Wallace in second, Dale Earnhardt 3rd, Alan Kulwicki 4th. Taking a look at Derek Cope, he might have got a little bit of help there as he spins, loops it, did not do any severe damage, was able to fire it up and come back around. In the 5th spot was Waltrip as they were coming down. In 6th, Ken Schrader, 7th, Jeff Bodine, 8th, Bill Elliott, 9th, Shepard, 10th, Mark Martin, 11th now, Trickle, 12th, Bodine, a lap, and they're going to turn them loose, and Jeff Bodine is pitting.
That's a tough
11 on pit road.
That's a tough break for Jeff Bodine. It must be an important adjustment they have to make. Right rear tire is being checked. It's going to be hard for him to get through all that traffic back up to the front. So many cars in front of him now.
Field doubles up on the restart. Rudd for 1st, Wallace for 2nd, Earnhardt 3rd, Kulwicki 4th, Waltrip 5th on this restart. Petty down on the inside trying to take off that back.
He's been doing that all day.
Similar situation to what we saw earlier, Chris.
Well, Ricky Rudd now out in front. That's $220,000 extra if he can stay there. That's some payout.
178 laps complete as they come down. Rudd out in front. Can he stay there? Get that bonus. Nearing the halfway mark. He jumps in front of Kyle Petty and puts him a lap down. They go to turn 1. Wallace trying to make it 3 straight. Reliving those Petty days back in the 70s. He dominated here at Richmond. Lies in second spot. Earnhardt is third and looking strong again. Alan Kowicki on the outside there goes fourth, moving around the lap car of Bobby Hillin. 7 lead changes among 6 drivers as we get toward the halfway point. And you're riding in car number 66. Tucked right in there with Mark Martin. That's 9th place, directly in front of Dick Trickle, who is running 10th again. He's moved back up a spot. And as they sort them out, here's the 7 car getting back around. Wallace fading back. Wallace dropping back in that gang spot that we have up in front. Ricky Rudd stays in first. And we've got another big battle developing further back. Here is Bill Elliott in the 9 car, shooting up around Waltrip. This is 4. Meanwhile, up in front, Kyle Petty has taken his lap back from car number 5, Ricky Rudd, closing in his Earnhardt in second spot.
Twice as Petty has done that so far today.
That battle for the lead here, Chris. Down to the inside comes number 3, Earnhardt going back for first. The Hendrick Chevrolet on the outside, the Childress car on the inside. It's Chevy against Chevy out of turn 2 and into the back straightaway, and Kowicki comes to third.
Well, you know, if Kowicki wanted to take lessons watching 2 greats go at it in front of him, he's got the great seats for it.
Here you see Wallace in fourth. Live this afternoon from Richmond, Virginia. Here's Kowicki down low. And Ricky Rudd, it's a replay of earlier Earnhardt, who had to start dead last as the race began today. Had to bring in the extra horses after he had a terrible crash yesterday, the last practice. Look at this. Here in the lowest line out there is the Rusty Wallace machine in 4th place. He dove further down the racetrack and did not pinch it. Now he bobbles a little in the 27. The black and gold car is Rusty Wallace closing in on Alan Kowicki as they swap those positions up in front. Earnhardt is first. Car number 7 lies in second spot.
You know, Ken, at the back end of the lineup, Jeff Bodine has passed 8 cars since the green flag came out on the restart. Remember he made that pit stop for inspecting the right rear tire? Apparently nothing was wrong with the car, and he's on the move again, but way in the back.
You say Kowicki in second. Kyle Petty has made the lap up. Rusty Wallace third, then in that 4th position. Going down in turn 1, Ricky Rudd. Led briefly, falls back in the Chevrolet. Maybe he's willing to wait back there. Now trying to put Kyle Petty a lap down once again. Here comes car number 3.
And Alan Kowicki right behind.
Dale Earnhardt trying hard to win that 40th Winston Cup race. Goes back out in front. 187 laps are now complete. Second place man is car number 7, Kowicki. And here's Rusty Wallace running third. Number 17 running in 6th is Darrell Waltrip. Right with him, Davey Allison reported a lap down. After months of preparation for the 500 at Daytona, Waltrip disappointed with their 14th place finish. You're not the only driver, but you're the team leader out there. So what are you going to do today at Richmond to get this team back in line, Darrell?
The problem that we have this week is morale. We're mentally beat up right now, emotionally beat up, if you will. So I can't probably drive my normal race, which is not a good plan for me. But in order to encourage my men and in order to get them their spirits up, I'm going to have to go out and drive off this thing Sunday. And I'm going to have to come back in with some wheel marks down the side of the car, the nose popped and beat in a little bit, and get my guys, you know, pumped up back to the point of where they got some confidence in me and the car and themselves. We had a bad day in the pit today. we had a bad day on the racetrack. They look at the driver for leadership, and I to them. And so we got to come in here this weekend, and we got to be as tough as we've ever been anywhere. Me as a driver, them as a crew, and try to pick ourselves up, and so we can go forward in 1990.
And as you watch, Waltrip is fading back some more. He's not giving that leadership he wanted to. As you watch car number 17, you're looking at his pits. Let's go right there with Jeff Hammond and Steve Burns.
Jeff, Darrell Waltrip said that he was going to try and get the team pumped up. How are you guys doing today?
Right now we're struggling a little bit. We came in earlier, we're going to just change 2 tires, see if we can get the car up a little closer to the front. But right now the right side tires are not working very good with the left car. The car's really bad loose. So we need to get a caution flag again, see if we can get back in and get back on track like we were a little earlier.
So Darrell Waltrip fading back here again, and they've got to make a tire change to get this one rectified. Meanwhile, up in front, as Dale Earnhardt continues to lead, battle developing for second place. This is Alan Kowicki in the 7th, and he is working over Rusty Wallace. Real strong. They lean on each other a little here, Chris.
That's great racing. A couple of Midwesterners going at it, tooth and nail. ASA graduates.
Rusty Wallace down low in the Pontiac, the Ford number 7 high. At lap 193, 7 away from halfway. At the Pontiac Excitement 400, here's Wallace taking a look to the inside now. Ricky Rudd lies 4th. Morgan Shepherd has come to 5th. Mark Martin is in 6th. 7th. Dick Nickel has moved up to 8th. And Sterling Marlin to 9th. Bill Elliott has come to 10th. Slippery, cold track. Beautiful day. Some of the best race fans in America. Out here braving temperatures as we look back from Dick Nickel's car, number 66. Remember the trickle into 66 is being shown in 8th position. Kenny Schrader right there with him. They've turned a few laps together over the years. And up in front of him is Mark Martin.
Meanwhile, Dale Earnhardt's got a clear track out in front.
Trickle fights this car, and as Ken Schrader was pointing out yesterday, this is all corner. There's the 15 car going a little high. Here comes that 66 car moving under it. This is the battle for 5th. Up to the outside goes number 15, Morgan Shepherd. Morgan was telling me something interesting today. He says, you know, the next thing you need is an oil thermostat. He runs it in his car. There's Morgan going high, and up underneath him comes car number 66. Trickle. Morgan Shepherd says he uses an oil thermostat in his Grand National car. He found it in the Porsche automobile. He says he thinks that Bud Murph gets this cold again. We use a similar piece of equipment on his Winston Cup car. He says the oil stays right at 212 degrees, right where they want it all the time, Chris. Chris Trickle in the 66. Up into 6. Mark Martin is now the man he's looking for. Martin's 4th. The Ralph R. is running in 5th position.
Jack Roush has got a lot of time and investment put into that number 6 car. It was the fastest in practice last night, but he's got a wonder fix after yesterday's sportsman race. Knocked down those barriers entering pit road. Mark Martin is in the Supreme Fitness program as we hit the halfway mark on the track. And there's Jeff Bodine in car number 11 is headed to the pits again.
Bodine coming in. Unusual stop at that point on car number 11 for Bodine. Here he is rolling down into the Junior Johnson pits. He isn't moving too actively here. He's just kind of creeping in. Wonder what the situation is on number 11. Bodine had been fading back a bit. He brings the car to a halt. Not too much activity there. It may be over on car number 11, Jeff Bodine, who really gave it a shot here and gave us some great racing in the early going.
In other words, in the meantime, Alan Kowicki is pulling up on Dale Earnhardt, cutting that interval from the better part of a second down to less than half second.
That's for second place. Berlin, Pennsylvania. They're out here. A lot of Pennsylvania fans today. I'm simply amazed at the enthusiasm of this crowd who've been in here since early this morning. They're keeping by applauding the as they lap Jimmy. Fight it. That correct point. That's for the lead. And down his eye goes. And he's going to take first spot. Alan Kowicki goes up in front, and Earnhardt right back again.
You know, kind of thing that's going on here. The leader gets out and gets going, and the next thing you know, somebody passes him. I ready to tire again, so they get lose a little bit of slow down. What a car.
That means those sticks are good. Rusty Wallace closes. He's going for second spot. He's making it down the back straight as Alan Kowicki goes out in front.
Virginia, where the great Richmond freeze out of 1990 is over past the midway mark. Let's look at our Goodyear mid-race recap here. We've had 9 speed changes in the event among 6 different drivers, running a pretty good 95.5 miles an hour here, given the conditions that they're running under. 6 cautions, a total of 33 laps. We have 3 cars out of the race thus far. Take a look at those cars. Terry Gann with an engine failure. Richard Petty crashed. Bill Meacham, a rookie in the race, lost the rear end and has gone home. Keeping the tires under the cars on this cold and slick racetrack has been the big issue. Let's take a look at the most spectacular incident created by that situation thus far in the race here today. Here you see the field coming turn 4. Terry Labonte loops it in front of the traffic and does a double spin. Looked like everybody would get through. Rick Wilson just caught the wall, spun, and a total of 4 cars were involved. We're going to get back to the live racing action here as we wrap up our Goodyear mid-race recap and go back to Ken Squire.
Well, here you see Bill Elliott in the car, number 9. He is battling with Sterling Marlin. This is for 9th position with 213 of 400 laps complete. Bill Elliott in his Ford. Sterling Marlin, the 94 car, Oldsmobile, lapping Jimmy Means another time. We have a total of 15 cars in the lead lap, and there is your leader, Alan Kowicki, out in front. Alan and Sid are going to try and turn all our 1989 negatives into positives, and they're making a pretty good effort in that direction here today as he fights his way back up through. He's retaken the lead a couple of times. 10 lead changes among 6 drivers. Kowicki currently up in front. Rusty Wallace found his way to 2nd place, and Dale Earnhardt fallen back to 3rd, as we have seen happen on 2 previous occasions in the event. Chris?
Have you ever seen a race where the leading position seesawed so much as it has today? Remarkable.
Ricky Rudd lies 4th. Mark Martin is in 5th. Dick Trickle is in 6th. Ken Schrader is in 7th. Morgan Shepherd is 8th. Here's Dale. He is back to 3rd spot now for the Childress team. Ricky Rudd lies 4th. And if you're just joining us at the halfway point, Ricky Rudd has a bonus of over $220,000 if he can pull it off today. He won the pole for this Richmond race in the Skins game. He's got a chance at the big bonus.
They're really getting around here with speed, approaching the speed that they qualify that.
Back in 27th position, 2 laps down with the Crown Petroleum car, the rookie Robbie Musso, fighting his way to the field and seeing it from the bottom end of this event. He qualified well for today, but was in a skirmish right off early, and after his 9th place starting spot, he's had to look up from under ever since. There's Kowicki continuing to lead. And you can see a little ding in the back of the car, and now they're reporting there is some liquid flowing from beneath car number 7, and the NASCAR sponsors are watching it.
On the right-hand side of that car, the nice wheel mark on the driver's door shows he's been in some pushing situations.
Bachelor of Science degree from the University of Wisconsin, for the lad that's out in front. Fine driver, leading guy. Daytona did not his way. He just has problems with those restrictor plates. This is his kind of racetrack, and he certainly is giving it a go as he moves in to lap more traffic and try to in front of this hunt. Works on car number 19 here, the Chad Little car. Easily dispenses with him. Here he is working on Mickey Gibbs. number 7, Kowicki, who had such a great start a year ago, was all the way up in the points, and then it slid back. And Allen said over the winter, he said, to build continuity with his team. He's put more special with his team. He put Ashley Page, North Carolinian, who's been working in IMSA prototype racing. Put him in as part of the team and hopes that Paul Andrews and Slick Poston, who's a really good and transmission specialist that he pulled up Hendrick Motorsports, but those specialized ingredients will move him up in the standings, give him some more victories this year. What about the fluid story? Steve Burns, you down there in Alan Kowicki's pit?
Yeah, I just talked to Paul Andrews, Alan Kowicki's crew chief. He said they think it's water leaking, but Alan reports that the gauge is fine, so they're going to keep on going.
Keep on trucking.
You know, Alan Kowicki is about to put a lap on Darrell Waltrip. Waltrip just a few minutes ago was in 5th. One little misadjustment on the car, sent the driver right to the back, and now Darrell Waltrip about to be lapped.
And he's in 16th as Kowicki zeroes in on him and gets it in his sights. Some secondary
of engine. Cars all week. Kona. There he goes.
226. Darrell Lyle. Cars in the lead lap. Kowicki turns. The look dominable. Pontiac Excitement 400 on TBS from Richmond, Virginia.
Promotional fees and consideration have been by Timex. The Timex Motorsports watch is now available for $29.95. It's time, day, date, 16-hour timer with 8-lap memory. Quantities are limited. Order yours now. 1-800-4-TIMEX. And by the Holiday Inn Midtown, Richmond, 3200 West Broad Street, proud participants in NASCAR racing. And by True Value.
Take on dirt, grease, and grime with a pack of 3 True Test professional cleaners. Just $2.98 in February at participating True Value hardware stores.
Talk about tough.
We are back for caution. There's been a major crash in turn number 1. The Bobby Hillen car, the Phil Parsons car lied there, but another car was involved. It is Alan Kowicki, the leader, who is just coming down across the start-finish line with the right side of his car savage. He is all beaten in. Here's what happened. Here you see Kowicki going to the inside with car number 7. See a car losing up in front. Bobby Hillen goes up in smoke. Getting lost in the oil was Kowicki's number 7. He goes to the inside, comes back across. He slammed the inside fence and slid back across the track. He took a lot of damage. It looked like Bobby Hillen lost the engine on the Harry Hyde prepared car. Here's a second angle for you folks.
It was the evasive action that Kowicki took that did him in.
Kowicki collecting the inside wall and then crashing back to the outside. And here you see car number 4. And here's Kowicki pitting now. Oh, this is tragic for Alan Kowicki, who had such a good run running. Steve Burns is there.
There's severe damage to the back of Alan Kowicki's car. The back end is completely smashed in. There's sheet metal covering the left rear tire. They're going to try and pull all the sheet metal off of it. They're also on the right side. There's no gasoline leaking at this point.
You know, at Daytona, this would be a killer damage, but here the aerodynamics are not as important as at Daytona. If they can get the wheels free of the center work and not lose any time, perhaps he can still have a chance at winning.
The car is so beaten up, it'll be a tough run for Alan Kowicki from here. I mean, the handle is gone on that car. As you can see from the damage he sustained on the right side of the machine. Continue to work on the gears. His backside is all beaten in from where he collected the fence and he backed up the track. That's a tough one for Alan Kowicki.
He'll be in again to get rid of that air dam on the right-hand corner.
Leading. If we get the opportunity, we had some pretty good camera work. We'll show you again what happened. Now, there is the Bobby Hillen car. And you could see that it just erupted, and as it did, it really hit this wall a lick. tremendous black mark. Alan Kowicki is refitting at his car number 4. Here's Kowicki coming back in another time. It was a very, very hard. He's going back behind the wall. Leading in the event, fought his way up there. You could see him going through the lap traffic, and a car in front of him lost the motor. Chris?
One less man Ricky Rudd has to worry about, because that bonus is in his eye.
Well, there you see Alan Kowicki. Here is the Labonte car. That had been having trouble and was slowing a couple of times. Finally has come in. It had run slowly once, come onto the pit road, gone back out, run another slow lap. It's in, as is the number 7, and that. Let's take a look again at what happened here at turn 1. Now you see the 7 car on the bottom of your screen. There's Phil Parsons outside, and it is the Hillen car erupting in smoke. And take a look at what happens.
See, if Kowicki hadn't swerved so sharply to the left, he could have kept going and there'd be no trouble at all.
But I think he was in oil. I don't think he had much choice there, and he was already tagged by the 4 the way he went. Truly a victim of circumstance, misfortune, Alan Kowicki. There's the spinning car, the blown engine. Into the oil goes Phil Parsons. He grazes the wall, but Alan Kowicki's hopes of winning here today, his second Winston Cup victory after that tremendous. They had a lot of special plans. They really thought they were going to win today. He and his pit crew had all kinds of special things for the crowd they had organized. Remember the backward lap he took at Phoenix? They were confident this morning when I talked to them, and now he's taking off the helmet.
On that.
Let's go to Steve Burns.
Alan Kowicki, you had the car hooked up so well. What happened?
Somebody blew it. Somebody blew an engine in front of us and dumped a bunch of oil on the track. And too bad we didn't have anywhere to go with the Xerox Ford Thunderbird. I think this race was ours. I just can't believe this, man. We don't deserve this kind of stuff, but we're going to come back and run just as good next week and the week after that, and keep plugging away. We're going to win some races this year. That's just a real shame.
A very upset Alan Kowicki.
Well, that will cost Alan Kowicki some True Value Hard Charger points here today. He had moved into the lead in the point standings for the True Value Hard Charger Award. 5 points for leading a lap, 4 for second, and so on down. As we look at the standings, Kowicki had 683 points compiled, just past the halfway point. Jeff Bodine is also out of the race, and we expect him to be joining us here in the pit center momentarily. So Ricky Rudd is currently in the driver's seat in the race for the $1,500 here today. A bad break for Alan Kowicki, as he is evidently out of the race for good. I don't think they're going to fix that car.
It was his 4th time here. He has started on the pole once. He had finished second a year ago in this event. He had a 6, broke a crank back in 1988. And Alan Kowicki, he does not deserve this kind of misfortune. He's a good racer, absolute victim of circumstance in this situation. Unlike most races, last Sunday's Daytona 500 had lots of winners. At least that's what Dave Despain thinks when he reviews that race in the context of the 1990 championship.
And the Daytona winner everyone will remember is Derek Cope, who pulled the biggest upset in stock car history. But the championship contenders who emerged from the 500 have more familiar names. Like Dale Earnhardt, for example. He dominated 499 of Sunday's 500 miles and served notice he's hungry for a 4th title. A blown tire on the last lap shattered his dream of victory, but until then, not one car had passed him on the racetrack.
Car drove good, ran good. And boom. That's all was to it.
Before Kenny Schrader's engine blew Sunday, he passed 40 cars in 24 laps. Like Earnhardt, he missed the big prize, but he gained a huge psychological advantage. Every driver out there will remember the sight of number 25 looming in his mirrors.
Rusty Wallace, who had a 7th place finish in that Daytona 500, now is shown as the leader here today after Alan Kowicki's misfortune. Coming up in the 2nd spot for the first time this afternoon is Mark Martin. So as you lose one good Ford, another one comes right in there to contend. The Roush car is up, then Earnhardt is 3rd. Ricky Rudd is 4th. Dick Trickle lies 5th on the field. In 6th is Ken Schrader. 7th is Bill Elliott. 8th is Morgan Shepherd. 9th is Bodine. 10th is Sterling Marlin. 11th comes Jimmy Spencer. 12th is Butch Miller in the Travis Carter car. They're all in the lead lap.
So Mark Martin up there in second place, he's devoted to becoming a successful racing driver. He's embarked on a physical fitness program that has developed his upper body to the degree he's had to throw all his old clothes away. They call them muscles down there in pit road. Now he's had to buy new and bigger clothes. He's become quite a physical specimen for a little guy from Batesville, Arkansas.
Here's Dick Trickle trying to get some heat into the tires. Just joining us. Well, it's 32 degrees this afternoon in Richmond, Virginia. It's a beautiful day, but it is really cold, and it has created a situation where we've had 7 cautions thus far. This last one, you can't blame a colder tire. We had a blown engine on Bobby Hillen's car. He really hit the wall hard. I understand he's okay. We'll try to get a word with him shortly.
Hi, Jeff. I understand you're all through on the track, and you're going to do some work for us. And I have a question for you, Jeff. What about these cars? You see so many guys go for the lead, get out there, and then the next thing you know, they fade a little bit. Tires, or is somebody else just beating them?
Well, no, I think what it is, we were running pretty hard out there, if you didn't notice. Everyone wanted to get up front, and what we could do, you could overwork these tires. You could run them a little too hard. It's cool. The engines are running great. You got a lot of horsepower. Everything's sticking real good, and you find yourself all of a sudden, whoops, you know, I slipped. I run a little too hard, got the tires a little too hot, even on a cool day like today, and then you see a guy fade back, and then you see another guy take over that might have saved his tires a little bit, just run a little bit easier, a little more conservative. He slides up in there and takes the spot away. I think that's a little bit of what I was feeling. The tires are a little inconsistent today. You know, the radios are great, and we don't see any problems out there like we thought we might see on restarts, spinning around, not getting warm enough to stick to the track. But the tires are just a little inconsistent. One set will be a little bit better. They all feel good when you first put them on, but then you find out, well, maybe these have a little too much stagger, or just not hooked up quite as good as the other set. So I think that's a little bit of what you see also. Everybody can really run hard there for a few laps, but then all of a sudden you find out, well, these tires aren't quite as good as what I thought they were.
Thanks very much, Jeff. Ken?
All right, we'll be back with more, and it's really a delight for us enthusiasts to have Jeff Bodine drop by and tell us what it's really like out there this afternoon in Richmond, Virginia. Back with more in a moment. 44 laps have now been completed of the 400. That will account for the Pontiac Excitement 400. With Chris Economaki, I'm Ken Squire, Dave Despain at the STP Pit Center, Charlie Harville and Steve Burns along pit road, and a guy who was out here mixing it up, Jeff Bodine, is going to join us for some time today. Mark Martin has worked his way up into second spot with this car, number 6. Mark, you won last season. If the pressure back on to win again after that Rockingham a year ago?
You got to remember, Ken, we've only run 3 races. 3 races since we won. It's been a long time. It's been several months, but we've only run 3 races, and we finished 3rd at Phoenix of the very next race after we had won and led that race and all. So, you know, with that in mind, it's going to come to us, and hopefully it won't be forever, but if it takes 10, 15, 20 races, then that's what it's going to take.
Let's go to Mark Martin's pits. Charlie Harville is there.
I'm here with Steve Meal, the team manager. Steve, have you made any changes? How did you move into second place?
Other people's misfortune, mostly. We brought a good car here last fall and started the race too early and got in a wreck. So we've been talking to Mark every 5 or 10 laps, slowing him down, telling him just to ease along and take what he can get. Now the 150, there's more laps to go here. We're just going to ride around and see what we got. I don't know if we can outrun him, but we're in pretty good shape.
Dick Trickle's moved up to 5th place. He's got Kenny Schrader right behind him. The Southerners really aren't doing all that well today.
And there you see the Goodwrench car, the number 3 car that is running in 3rd. And remember, the 17 car, there's the 6th car in 2nd spot. Then Earnhardt is running in the 3rd position. Then the 17 car of Waltrip is a lap down. He is running in 13th place as we get ready on the restart. There's now 246 laps complete. Behind the 17 car of Darrell Waltrip, there you have car number 5. That's Ricky Rudd. And Rudd is shown 4th in the race. Behind him comes 66, Dick Trickle. He is in 5th position on this restart. And then up next in the 6th position should be Ken Schrader's car number 25. There he is. Schrader is in the lead, lap in 6th, followed by Bill Elliott, who is showing the best he has yet. That's the 9 car that is running in 7th position. Then in 8th is Morgan Shepherd. 9th is Brett Bodine. 10th, Sterling Marlin. 11th, Jimmy Spencer. 12th, Butch Miller. Those cars all in the lead lap. And we're giving you a further rundown from several laps back on the entire field for you fans that have folks that aren't in this running order. We've had an intense battle up in front. We've had this tragedy for Alan Kowicki today as Bobby Hillen lost an engine down here in turn number 1. Bobby was having a pretty good time of it, too. It's too bad to see Snicker's car out of it at this point. It's a new sponsor and a new team that had really come back together with Harry Hyde as crew chief. Car number 4 is back on pit road another time. That is Phil Parsons, the third car involved in the altercation that took Alan Kowicki out of this Pontiac Excitement 400. Here he is coming back out as the review concludes here as how they were running. Let's go back to Dave Despain with Jeff Woodine. And Jeff, I'd like to know as we go down there, what did happen to car number 11 today?
Well, it's nice you guys asked. You know, I didn't just come in here to see Dave.
Oh, I thought you just wanted to get some warm coffee.
Looking for a daytime job.
I'd rather be out there racing for sure. We think a camshaft broke, or this timing belt that runs the camshaft. The engine just quit running down the front straightaway. We looked at the rotor button. We thought, you know, these things have distributors with a little rotor button that turns around and fires the spark plugs, makes us run. And we took the cap off and looked at that little rotor button that wasn't moving when the engine was turning over. So I guess something in there broke.
I want to know who you think is going to be strong today. Earnhardt coming from the back was very impressive. You've seen everybody run. You've been with the front runners. Who's going to win the race?
Rusty looks awful strong. Ricky Rudd, my old ride, can run good for a while. But he seems to fade back some, but they might be able to make some adjustments to pick their car up. There's a lot of good cars out there. Mark Martin, we don't know, like Steve Kimmel said, we don't know what he's really has. I guess we'll see here in a little while. So there's still a lot of cars that could go up there and get Rusty.
This $220,000 thing from Unical has just gotten so outrageous. The amount of money hasn't been won in almost a year now. From a driver's viewpoint, can you really put that out of your mind and not think about it as Ricky said he was going to?
I think it's out of Ricky's mind right now. I think he's just concentrating on what he has to do to get his car in front of whoever's in front of him. Believe me, it's a lot of work out here. Even though it's cool, I still worked up a little sweat out there a few times.
We're getting ready to go back to green. Let's go back to Ken Squire.
250 laps as they'll get green again. And see Waltrip in car number 17. He's going to fight to try and get his lap back. Rusty Wallace deployed up in front.
They're going to go for another lap under the yellow. Jimmy Spencer just had to pull out of line a little bit ago and go in and get that Heinz Ketchup car looked upon there. He's doing a good job for Pennsylvania fans. Got a lot of fans, you said earlier, Ken, from the Keystone State here. And Jimmy is doing a superb job in his first full season on this circuit.
While they were ready to come to green, they'll take one more lap, so it'll be 251 when we go for the green today. $458,000, the Post Award, plus an extra $220,000 up if Rudd comes home first. He will start in 4th spot. Here you see Waltrip trying to get a little fire into those tires under car number 17 as he brings it out of the bleach box. Gives it a little run there. Car number 27, Wallace. He'll be the leader. They'll pull up alongside each other for this start.
You know, 36 cars took the green flag, and there's still 30 of them out there. We're 5/8 of the way through the contest and had a lot of skirmishes, but very few are at park.
Let's see if Waltrip can get his lap back. Wallace immediately asserts himself as they come to green, and he's the man that can do that. He thunders down through and just pushes that Pontiac back out in front. Doesn't want to take any chances with Darrell. Wants to keep him down if he possibly can. You get Waltrip back in the lead lap towards the end of these things. He'll scorch you, as they'll tell you from experience in the Goodies 300 down at Daytona a few years ago. So we're away, and we're back under green. We've completed 7 caution periods, and this was the most serious of the day when Bobby Hillen blew in turn number 1, and Alan Kowicki, the leader's car, was caught in the crash. Rusty Wallace is out in front, all of them just taking it easy, right on the edge of control as they try to get some heat back in these tires. This is where we've had trouble on 3 previous occasions after about 2 laps. Fading back is the 17 car. Notice Waltrip dropping back again. And the front 4, there's Ricky Rudd down to the inside, stays right up in there. What a mix of cars today, Chris. Here you have a Pontiac in first. Then you have a Ford in second, the black number 3 Chevrolet up there. and then the Chevrolet of Ricky Rudd, Pontiac of Dick Trickle, all of this front collection.
Exactly, and Schrader's back there, too. I think before this day is out, Ken Schrader's going to be a factor. He's been playing it very cool, flying back there, staying within striking distance. And as I said before, this business of so many different leaders is quite remarkable in this form of competition. Now there goes Mark Martin on the outside, trying for the lead for the first time today. And Dale Earnhardt waiting for one of them to make a mistake.
And here comes Earnhardt down to the inside, and he blazes through. Martin gave him just a little room. He didn't want to get in contact with these very skittish tires on this cold day. So now you have it once again. Rusty Wallace up in front, and his old compadre, Dale Earnhardt, right there knocking on the rear door, the rear trunk lid, as they come back across the line to complete 256 laps.
Literally and figuratively knocking on the back bumper there. He gave him a little bit of nudge. Hey, Rusty, here I am. Look in your mirror. Guess who's here?
Down to the inside moves Earnhardt. He's ready to take a run at first place. Earnhardt on the inside going back to first. Here's Wallace on the outside. Chevy on the inside. Pontiac high. Down to turn number one. It could be a little leaning here. Still even in one. And into two, it is Earnhardt going back up into the lead position. We've seen this circumstance before, Jeff Woodine, and then we've seen Dale come back. What do you think the story is here?
Looks like Rusty's having a little trouble handling. Looks like the car got a little tight, and this is what can happen. You change tires, you get a little different setup. The car wants to push, it doesn't want to turn going into the corner. I think that's what slowed Rusty down, and Dale obviously has a good set of tires. He just motored on by.
Well, as the fans who've been watching all day will vouch for, this car number 3 has done this. Remember, came from the rear at the very beginning of the race after he crashed in practice yesterday. It's gone out in front, and then it's been reeled in by those second, third, fourth place cars, and it's been this group that's done it each time.
Well, whatever memories Dale Earnhardt has of that outside wall between turns 3 and 4 seem to be forgotten the way he runs through that corner now. That's where he had his problem yesterday, and he really took care of his car. I mean, he did it in completely, and here he is out front. Remember, he started last today, and he's out in front and running away.
Banging up race cars does not bother Dale Earnhardt one iota. Number 4, Bill Parsons, back on pit road. I'll never forget down there at Daytona when he wrapped his Grand National car up in a ball, put it wheel to wheel, and was out in 10 minutes or 15 as soon as they opened the track up for Winston Cup practice, and the other automobile, and he shrugged it off. As has Schrader shrugged off that hard crash, but you know he's got to be hurting, that his shoulders and his chest, and as you say, we saw his foot yesterday, and
black and blue.
It was bad looking. Says that's part of the game. We have 262 down. And all of a sudden, that Earnhardt lead goes away. Here comes Wallace, climbing, creeping, crawling, right back up on the back of number 3. Looking further back, you saw the 66. That was Dick Trickle holding off Morgan Shepherd. But here's the story. It's up in front. Earnhardt is there, and look at Wallace in the Pontiac closing up. Mark Martin in the Ford. And 3 different manufacturer makes battle it out at Richmond in race 2 of the $20 million Winston Cup Series for 1990. Jeff Woodine.
And, you know, Dale went up and passed Rusty. Looked like Rusty's car was a little tight. But that can happen on a restart. A car can be a little tight early going. Dale's car was a little looser, which made it go a little faster on those new tires. But now it looks like the tighter setup that Rusty has is going to be the better setup for the long run. He's come back to close on Dale. He's trying to get underneath him coming off turn 2. And now Dale's a little loose. You can see him working the steering wheel pretty hard coming off those corners. That means his car's loose. Rusty's tight setup is coming in to working really good now, and we got a heck of a race going.
And we've got a great race just behind it back in 5th spot as the Dick Trickle car and the Morgan Shepherd car fight it out. But look at this up in front. Here is Rusty Wallace back on the inside. Meanwhile, car number 15, Morgan Shepherd, has taken 5th. Schrader's got 6th. Trickle has fallen from 5th to 7th. This is where the story is. It's right up in first place. Bottom of the racetrack. Rusty Wallace is there. On the outside, it is Dale Earnhardt.
I don't think fans at any racetrack have seen as competitive an event as we're watching today. Here, side by side for the lead is more the rule than the exception today. And Mark Martin now tries to get by Dale Earnhardt for second as Wallace takes a 2-car length lead.
And look at Ricky Rudd just sitting there and waiting. I wonder what's going through his mind right now as we come up toward 270 complete in a couple of laps. He's driven a very smooth, smart race in that car number 5 for Waddell Wilson. He just sits there. I wonder if he is waiting on this. He's shown that he can go up and lead. For the moment, it is Wallace again, seeking 3 in a row here at Richmond in the black, the Miller car, number 27. And then it is Mark Martin right there in second spot. Fastest car yesterday. If you're just joining us, this car had him covered in the final practice. And here's the car that set on the pole for today's race, number 5. What a job Ricky Rudd is doing. Here's your front 4 still all together. And then you see Gerald Waltrip running 13th, 1 lap down to the leaders. Further back in the field, Morgan Shepherd has taken over in 5th. Schrader has gone to 6th. Trickle is holding 7th. Bill Elliott is in 8th position. And Brett Bodine is shown in 9th with Jimmy Spencer 10th. Here's the 66 Trickle car trying to move back around Schrader. They've been having a go at it for a while out here. Number 66, bottom of the racetrack. And he's making the mark. Number 66, Dick Trickle, picks up a spot. Incidentally, car number 7 is back out. Several laps down, fighting for points. Game competitor from Wisconsin. Here's Alan Kowicki, who was leading when he was crashed out of this race. The Bobby Hillen car lost an engine, and Alan Kowicki lost all hope of a victory here at Richmond this year. Here are the front 3, and it's going to stay that way, we think, right down to the checkers. John Ken Squire topside, Dave Despain along, Steve Burns, Charlie Harville, and Jeff Bodine has joined us here at Richmond International Raceway, where TBS is bringing you at 277 laps complete. Just a dandy of a race. It doesn't get any better than what we're enjoying this afternoon here at Richmond, Virginia. Here are the front 3 with Rusty Wallace leading Mark Martin and Dale Earnhardt. And you saw a lap car, and you're beginning to see a real buildup of excitement back behind that lap car. We'll follow that story in a moment. But let's watch what happens when these top competitors move their way through turn 4, Chris.
At the end of the tapered guardrail, these 4 Fitch inertial barriers made by John Fitch, a former driver. They're plastic barrels filled with energy-absorbing material. Watch how close these cars come to them. And yesterday, Mark Martin, who's now in second place, fighting for the lead, ran into these barrels. They're just a couple inches away. It's amazing how close they cut this corner.
That concrete wall separating pit road at turn 4 from the racetrack. Here are the front 3. Jeff Bodine, how do you think it looks out here?
You know, our Budweiser. We had to make that pit stop when no one to tighten up. It's real early in the season. Maybe we'd get our bad luck out of the way early, and we'll go on and have all good luck the rest of the year.
How's your brother looking to you, Brett, Jeff?
Well, I got a chance to race the little brother out there a little bit when I came through that pack from the back, and he didn't look all that bad, but it looks like he might have been having some brake problems, or he just didn't seem to be able to run down in the corner like he wanted to. Of course, when I went by, he kind of picked up the pace a little bit. We see him behind Dick Trickle and Kenny Schrader, so maybe he's got a little inspiration now that I'm not out there to bring the Bodine name up front a little bit more.
Well, he's doing a grand job, and we're seeing him right here. Here's Dick Trickle moving under Ken Schrader for 6th, and your brother right there with him. To the bottom of the screen. He looks good out there, Jeff.
His car looks really good. It looks like it's working well on the bottom of the racetrack, and that's the hard part of this racetrack, is trying to get your car to drive down in that corner right there and turn. And then when you get off the corner right here, when you get back into power, not to have the back wheel spin to get loose. It's very tricky. And Brett obviously is getting off the corner good. He just drove up underneath Dick Trickle there with no problem.
He sure did. He's picked himself up another spot. You see Brett Bodine on the leaderboard in 6th position now in the Kenny Bernstein car. that number 26 machine. How difficult is it, Jeff Bodine, to get off those corners and not spin those wheels on this 3/4-mile track?
If your car's loose, you're going to spin your wheel. That's kind of what you see Dale Earnhardt's problem is right now. He's able to keep up pretty good with what he has, but the other two fellows are a little quicker. They can get back in the throttle a little bit sooner, get a little more momentum down these long straightaways. Like I said, if you can get your car to turn in the middle, a lot of times you're going to be a little loose coming off.
Jeff, how tender do you have to be on the throttle to make it work, to keep it hitched up out here?
If you're tender on the throttle, you're going to be like Dale is, about 10 cars behind that front group. I was running every lap just about as hard as I could go to maintain whatever position I was in. That's what you see right here. These fellas are working hard. No one is holding back, believe me.
Jeff, that wasn't my point. The question really is, when you come off these corners on this track, and to avoid rear wheel spin, how do you use the throttle as we watch Dale Earnhardt here?
It's kind of like in a dirt car. You use the throttle to drive the car. The harder you push down on the pedal, the more horsepower you got, the more likely you are to spin those wheels. So when you feel that wheel slip, just before it slips, you hope you can feel it. You back off just a little bit, let it catch up, and then you nail it.
We've got a spinner down here in turn 4. All the way around goes car number 19, and he lands on the front end of another machine. Oh, that's unfortunate. The car that spun was Chad Little, and the man he collected was Rick Wilson, and that's identical to the spot where Wilson was in trouble a year ago. Remember the incident with Butch Miller, that fiery crash? Well, this one wasn't nearly as serious as that, but once again, at turn 4 here at Richmond, the car of Rick Wilson, now the 75 car, a year ago was number 4, gets beaten up, and he'll have some serious work to do to get the nose of that one straightened out.
He had it looked like an hour and a half to watch that coming. He zigged, and the car got spun up, and he zagged, and it was still in front.
And he had the brakes on. He had it all locked up.
He's only going about 2 miles an hour when the guy was
backed into him.
And look at the damage done to the front of the car. Stuff like that car's been beat up today. The right side got banged up very early, and now it's shortened up in the front. We're seeing a lot of equipment digged up today. Uncle Wickie's car, and now this car, he heads into the pit. Everybody's going in the pit. Fresh tires, gasoline, 110 laps to go. It may well be that we could go to the finish on the fuel that they're going to be taking on.
Let's go to Charlie Harville.
Rusty Wallace and his pit stop, they have been scouring the pits, other teams' tires, for tires that have been scuffed a little bit. They run better on these under these conditions, and they're putting some of those scuffed tires on number 27 right now.
Martin just made a 4-tire stop. They think they're in good position to make a run to the front. Morgan Shepherd also leading the pit. Morgan Shepherd is running in 5th position prior to the pit stop, and he's doing so with a broken rib and torn cartilage suffered in a wreck at Daytona in practice.
Steve asked them down there if they can go the rest of the race on the fuel they have. 110 laps to go.
Steve Byrne and Charlie Harville down there on pit road following this Pontiac Excitement 400 here at Richmond International Raceway on a cold, clear, beautiful day. But the fans that have turned out for this one are the kind of fans you would love to have at any track in America. Dedicated and enthusiastic about this sport, came early and are enjoying it, and it's muffler weather. Let's take a look again at what just happened up here to Chad Little. Car got loose. You could see him running up against the outside wall, and it finally got out from beneath him as if he'd cut a tire down. And now watch what happens. Poor Rick Wilson thought he'd taken the right move as that car was on the high side. It's that old line of yours, Economaki. You always want to aim exactly for where they are, because by the time you get there, they'll be gone.
Exactly. Well, it didn't happen that way for Rick Wilson.
Let's go to the SCP Pit Center. Dave Despain.
Jeff Bodine is with us today, and Jeff, the question about these tires, one of the things that the new tires have done is reduce what they call the stagger adjustment. The tires are all the same size. We heard that yesterday in the Grand National race, Dale Earnhardt's tires grew almost an inch, which makes a tremendous impact on the handling of the car. My question is, how much does that take away from the crew's ability to adjust the car now that they've made what could be their final pit stop?
Believe me, we love it. We love that consistent tire the radial tire gives us. We can count on that tire pretty much staying the same size no matter what happens. So now we can go to the chassis. We can make that turn of wedge change on the front or the back, a little tweak here, a little tweak there, and we're pretty confident what it can do to the race car.
Let me ask you about something totally different. I understand now if I'm a race car fan, if I'm a Winston Cup fan, I want to talk to Jeff Bodine. All I got to do is pick up the phone. I can call you right there in the bedroom. Is that the way that works?
Well, you know, they were talking about these fans sitting in the grandstands today, loyal fans. Well, they really are. And what we've come up with is called the Winston Cup Hotline, which is for our loyal fans. They can call in Monday afternoon and listen to their drivers talk about the race they had on Sunday. And this line is on all week long. It's updated every Monday, so there's a new thing in there from the race that we had that weekend. And the number, let me give it to you, is 1-900-446-9287, which is W Cup. That's 900-446-9287. It really is for the race fans. It's a lot of fun. I even call up and listen to Dale Earnhardt, Rusty Wallace, Darrell Waltrip. All you have to do is punch in their numbers. And
Hey, listen, Jim, put the Konamak here. Now, wait a minute. It's bad enough we got race drivers doing television. Now they're doing commercials. I'm going to buy a helmet.
Well, you know, I need to tell the fans